Left alone to raise my younger siblings after our mother abruptly abandoned us, no sign of her coming back, and I wonder if I'm cooked. Oop is 19F and finds herself watching her younger siblings, 16F, 13F, 12M, 9F, and 7F, after her mum went out before Christmas. Then she texted Oop that she would be gone for a week. It has been 9 weeks since then and Oop only heard from her mum 3 times and said she wasn't coming back anytime soon. Oop is trying to hang on in order to survive as she and her siblings live with their nan who doesn't provide any help. Older siblings have moved out of the house as well. Oop asked if it was a legal issue for social services to get involved, and with her mum being gone for that long, and I'm putting all my energy into the new routine and trying to sort out legal guardianship so we can get money for the kids, etc. Everything else is a problem for later on when we are more settled. My older brother came up last weekend and TBH it was nice but weird. BC the younger kids don't even remember him and they pretty much clung to me for the entire time. BC having a man in the house is strange for them. But after he left they said they miss him and liked having him here. He's been sorting his shit out this week and is coming back tomorrow with all his stuff and will be working remote from our house. Me and him have spoken a lot and I think we will be able to get on the same page with the kids and make it work. I'm worried about some things with parenting differences but we will figure it out. I'm trying not to seem controlling but it's hard to adjust to someone else being very involved when I have been looking after them by myself. I know I need him though. My nan was actively trying to undermine me and we had an argument. Then my brother got here and he had an argument with her in the first half hour. So she has gone to my aunt's for a while. She is still paying the bills here but if she stops we will be okay with my brother's money and mine. My brother wants to take the kids and move house but I am not even thinking about that until everything else is sorted out. Now that things are actually changing, our older sisters are more interested and have been messaging me so they might help as well. The kids are not taking the new routine too well but we are making progress so I'm trying to stick with it. I made a meal plan and have stuck to that all week. My 9-year-old sister told me she likes rules which makes it feel worth it. The teenagers are kind of a nightmare but I'm trying to persevere with them. 13-year-old was being horrific and I lost my shit which made her have an emotional breakdown and now she's been a lot better. 12-year-old has taken it okay-ish. He just tells me I'm a loser all the time and asks for his skateboard back a million times a day but I know he knows where it is so he is being pretty good considering he could just take it back if he really wanted. 16-year-old is hell. 7-year-old has like 3 tantrums a day and won't eat or sleep so she stresses me out probably the most. My mum hasn't called anymore but is complying with giving us custody and told her friend it's the best thing that's ever happened to her. I put with her and if she tries to come back I will do everything I can to keep her away from the kids. Update 2. Oop comes back to provide more updates on her family situation after receiving support from Bo Roo. After reviewing options available from Redditors, she goes forward with having kinship as it was the better choice for the family financially than legal guardianship. Oop's older brother, 22, has returned home and is now working remotely, which works great for the siblings. Oop's older sister has gotten in contact and informed she will send some money to help. Other oldest sister is working but will try to help on her weeks off but can't guarantee until things are stable. Oop shared individual updates on each siblings with their acceptance and struggles to their new reality as they are on a new routine with the older brother now in charge. He is helping Oop get the handle of their new lives with a healthy routine at home. The youngest sibling is taking the changes harder. The middle siblings are adjusting okay. The other 2 siblings are doing fine with brother being there. Moving forward, Oop focuses on helping siblings adjust to new changes made. Update 3. Oop and her older brother received approvals for kinship on their younger siblings. Mum still hasn't contacted Oop for a while except to complain about her missing their dad so much. That was the main point for Mum to ruin everyone's days and moods, especially Oop's. The siblings' nan is still not helping with the family at all. She has left to stay with their siblings' aunt and can't stand to be around the children. Giving individual updates on each sibling Oop has been looking after. Still having struggles with the siblings who are not adjusting very well to the new changes from their older siblings. The 7-year-old sister takes this the hardest. Oop is trying to find solutions to help her youngest sibling especially with having breakdowns because the siblings have no parents now. Slowly, the youngest consider Oop and their older brother as her parents after feeling more stable with the new life changes. Oop and her brother are working on finding right disciplines for their siblings. Brother is trying to find the best ways to keep his younger siblings in check. He had past childhood trauma scars from their father's punishments of using an electric cord as a whip onto his bottom. Wants to break the cycle and not doing the same thing to the younger siblings. Oop worked on getting all of her younger siblings to doctors to make sure they are healthy. Making great food choices for the entire family was the goal so the youngest siblings can catch up with their peers on their health. Therapy and other appointments are added to the list, so everyone's mental health can get back in good positions. The siblings are blessed to have the oldest brother and Oop around with support and love. Things are looking up a bit. Oop has her own struggles on parenting her 5 younger siblings, but having her older brother there helps so much. Oop was not happy with her 16-year-old sister for videoing their 7-year-old sister having a breakdown regarding their parents' abandonment. Taking away the 16-year-old's phone, Oop discovers she has been messaging their mum without Oop's knowledge. The sister was begging their mum to come home to no response. Oop is upset because her sister hid it from her. Mum tells 16 years old she had better things to do than raising the children altogether. Oop's older sister, number 2, Calls in to check with her and the siblings to make sure things are okay and sending money. Still angry at mom for replacing her with the youngest sister who is now 7, Oop tells her that it's not her fault. Oop's oldest sister, sister number 1, wanted to bring Oop to live with her because she is trying to shield Oop from family problems. Oop tells oldest sister that she will be okay. She needs to be there for their younger siblings. Oop and her brother are still working on getting therapy for all involved. Update 4. Oop returns a month later with a new update after receiving more support from Redditors. She shares news on things happening in her family. Older sister, number 2, is able to make a visit soon to check in with Oop and their siblings. Sister's relationship with their brother, 22, is sort of strained due to past childhood trauma altogether when they and their oldest sister, number 1, were younger. Oop understood why her 3 older siblings moved out at 18 while the family problems were not being resolved and affecting their mental health. Oop and her brother are looking into moving to a different city to have a fresh start with their younger siblings. Brother is still working remotely, and his job is working on helping him moving his family away from their current house. It has been in the plans for a while as brother feels it would do the siblings good to have a clean slate. The finances are getting better for the siblings as Oop and brother are able to budget and save some. Oop gave individual updates on each sibling as things are improving, but they are still dealing with problems/issues. Therapy has started for a couple siblings while others are still resenting. But overall, all siblings are starting to accept the new reality. 16-year-old has not received any more messages from their mom. Oop confirms the mom is no longer talking to the kids. 7 and 9 years old sisters are starting to see Oop as their mom now. The family's food diet is improving very much AF. They made life changes to get healthy. Oldest sister, number 1, is still having trouble on dealing with the family trauma, still wants to move Oop in with her. She refused to see their younger siblings due to her past childhood trauma. Oop wants to break the ice and have the oldest sister meet with their youngest sister to make sure she, number 1, knows who her sister is. Grandma is still not helpful for Oop and her brother. Will not move back home, is still at Oop's auntie's. Update 5. My sister. It's the second oldest here visiting, she's 23. She is here RN and has been here now for a few days. When she first got here I arranged with her to arrive in the evening after the younger kids go to bed BC I thought it would be a bit much and knew she would be emotional. She was shaking when she arrived so defo the right call BC the little kids would have been freaked out. The first evening I was like hell this is not gonna be good BC she was a serious wreck and wasn't sure she could stay. But then she slept on it and woke up way better and wasn't too emotional except at meeting the younger ones since she hasn't seen them in so many years. Since then things have been good. Honestly it has been better than I thought and I feel kind of bad for dreading it so much. She is obviously different from her teenage self. She's never been really maternal or anything and in my head that was a bad thing but it's actually good BC she's hanging out with the kids as a sister not a third parent figure 16 years old is very similar in personality to her so she has enjoyed having her here and having an adult to talk to who isn't me or Matt. 13 years old is clingy AF recently and having my sister here means she has clung to her instead of me all the time. 12 years old is not impressed about having another girl in the house and says she stinks, of perfume yeah. 9 years old wants to know why she's here and when she's leaving and if she's going to visit again but when she isn't worrying she is having fun getting my sister to do different hairstyles for her. And 7 years old only has eyes for me and is totally psyched when all the others are hanging out with big sis so she can have me to herself. She did ask my sister to let her out of timeout and was best buddies with her for 10 minutes until she got over being annoyed with me. I have got some time with my sister alone which has been nice to properly speak to her and get her opinion on some stuff and have her clear up things that happen with my dad. She defo has a lot of issues still but she is doing good for herself and pretty happy and isn't spiraling like our oldest sister. She pretty much said oldest sis has a lot of guilt issues for leaving and was expecting me to move in with her at 16 so is struggling a lot that I didn't and doesn't get how I was able to stay when she couldn't. Pretty sad hearing it TBH and I will defo talk to my oldest sister again and try help her but I don't want to get sucked into being her therapist. Matt has got along with her fine too but they aren't besties but they seem like they have put their issues aside and can handle being around each other which they defo couldn't do a couple years back. I'd why exactly but seems like Matt and oldest sis had guilt issues and my other sister didn't. She has always been self-centered but TBH it seems like that might be a good thing for her sake, and they had a lot of arguments about what they should and shouldn't be doing when they left. I think essentially middle sis was having too much fun and enjoying her life too much for the other two to handle BC they didn't think she gave a shit about the rest of us. Which she probably didn't but that's good for her I guess. Anyway she is staying for the week I think since it's going pretty well other things. My nan is still winding me TF up all the time. She whines at me daily about wanting my cousin to come live here and she threatens to kick us out all the time even though she told our caseworker we can live here as long as we need. Try not to waste my energy getting pissed off at her BC my patience is running thin as it is but JFC she is so annoying and so aggy BC she's offended that I told her she's a shit parent and grandparent my mom may have found my dad. I only suspect it because she has been messaging me demanding photos of my 12-year-old brother, and chances are she just wants to show my dad that he looks like him. She only gives a shit about her kids when she's trying to use them to make our dad love her. I told her to go fuck herself BC I'm not sending her any photos. Like get a fucking grip if you don't already have photos of your own child on your phone that's a you problem. She has been a bitch to him his entire life anyway. If dad leaves soon after you're born or whilst she's still pregnant with you, you're in her bad books for life. 22, me, 16, 12 and 7 were all in the bad books before we could hold our own heads up. And the oldest two are in the bad books for not being quiet about him abusing them and letting it continue so my mom could live her dream of having my dad at home. Also should mention my dad has other kids. I'd count many and I have never met them, but he has mentioned them before and I thought they may have been made up, but my sister said one of them contacted her ages ago, so they defo exist. 7-year-old has been calling me mummy. I have mixed feelings about it. I feel bad that this little kid has to resort to calling a 20-year-old mess mummy. It has made it feel a lot more real, like damn I really am all these kids have at this point. I know my mom would never sort herself out, but deep down I guess I felt like I'm the temporary guardian, and now I've fully realized no one is coming to take over at any point. I knew that, but I'd if it had clicked until a few days of the teeny monster calling me mummy. I'm happy that she has someone she can call mummy though. She wouldn't have that in foster care, so that makes me feel better. It would be really fucking sad if she had one to call mummy at 7 years old. 9-year-old has been a bit upset about it. BC I think she wants to call me it as well, but it feels a bit uncomfortable for her. She keeps crying saying she wants me to be her mum too, but I'm not her mum and she doesn't know what to do. OFC I have told her she can call me what she wants and it won't change the fact I will look after her and be there for her the same either way. I'm kind of worried 7 years old is going to start calling Matt dad. BC she is deep in her wanting a dad era and desperate for a dad. Talks about it a lot and asks about having a dad daily. Which triggers the other kids who hate our dad. So I'd if it will go down well if she starts calling bro dad. And I feel like it will be weird for her to refer to us both like that when we are siblings. But I don't want to tell her she can't either. She hasn't done it yet, but I can see her edging towards it. She asked me if I was going to marry Matt so he could be the dad. And he is so good with her. I heard him singing to her the other night. So OFC she's in love with 16 years old. I have found it easier if Matt does all the tough parenting shit and I act like I'm on her side kind of. OFC he knows I'm not really, but she doesn't want me parenting her, so instead of trying to force it on her I'm trying to be more like just a sibling and he is the bad guy. It doesn't work out perfectly and I still get pissed off at her, but mostly only when she does something to interfere with me parenting the other 4. Like 7 years old has her lovies, old muslin cloths, she is very attached to, and 16 years old confiscated one of them and wouldn't give it back, and I had to tell her you don't confiscate shit and force her to give it back by threatening to take her phone. But other stuff I leave to Matt. He is less bothered by the psychological BS with her. He just gets annoyed when I have an attitude with him and she overhears and copies me. Lol, it's been a lot of trial and error figuring out how to deal with everyone. See, like 13 years old is my shadow and does not react well to Matt disciplining her at all, but is fine if I do it. And 12 years old is one extreme or the other. Would tell me to fuck off but would cry when Matt tells him off for it. He listens to me better now, but only when I grab him and make him look at me whilst I speak. BC he is the master of tuning me out. He cuddles me when no one else is around though, and if Matt disciplines him he comes to me crying. 9 years old is a perfect angel until she isn't and decides to have a 30-minute battle with us. BC she doesn't want to brush her teeth for no actual reason. She kind of reminds me of myself as a kid trying to keep it all together all the time, but she is safe enough to then let it all out in a meltdown. Mostly she's pretty easy. BC she's reasonable, but sometimes she does go full demonic and tests our patience to everyone messaging me saying 7 years old sounds autistic. She's not. I've discussed it with the doctor and the therapist. She's got anxiety and abandonment issues and is very stressed in general, which is why she can't let herself lose control and fall asleep. But she was not like this before my mom left at all. She used to sleep fine. All of them struggle with food. BC they have been eating ramen their whole lives, but it's harder to get 7 years old to eat better. The older ones I can explain it a bit better that they need the nutrition and they will try and eat more. But she doesn't give a fuck about nutrition. And she's crazy attached to me. BC she thinks I will leave obviously. She has tabs on me constantly. But in theory that should all pass with time and reassurance. Matt has been really good at not being like our parents were with us. He walks away a lot when he gets pissed off. BC he doesn't want to react badly to the kids. He hasn't smacked anyone since our big argument about it, which TBH is impressive considering how it was for us as kids. He literally has scars from my dad's beatings and my mom has broken multiple bones on a few errant kids. So trying not to be physical at all when that's what you're used to is hard, but we are doing it. I'm chilling out a bit now with letting him actually parent and not intervening all the time. Like a while ago we were having a terrible night with 7 years old and she was still screaming at about 2 a.m. Matt came to get her off me. BC I was about to lose it, and as he picked her up she was flipping out and accidentally headbutted him full in the face. I basically went blind and grabbed her off him so fast. BC if that was my dad he literally would have thrown her across the room and she'd be in hospital. But Matt just sat on the floor silently and held his nose for a while. And I was like, oh WTF, he didn't even seem pissed off. So a couple more situations like that and now I'm not so crazy in protection mode and feel like I can trust him anyway. This is a lot longer than I planned yet again.